welcome to the Controller Talk podcast presented by Danfoss North America. Our goal is to bring you information about using Danfoss controls in the supermarket and warehouse industry, specifically in the US and Canada. We're doing these twice a month for now. You can catch these podcasts wherever you get your podcast, and it's also available through the Danfoss Ref Tools app. For the video version, check us out on the Danfoss North America YouTube page. Search for Controller Talk to see our video collection. I'm Dave Yoder, along with Chris Brown. So Chris, did you know that it's college basketball season already?
I did watch a Terps game last week. I'm disappointed, but watched it. I did.
I see. All right. So Kansas is rated number 1 right now.
Are they?
Yeah. Yukon, which is one of my kind of closet favorites, is number 2. But they're both undefeated, but, it is kind of early. But, yeah.
Tournaments will be coming up here, winter tournaments and all that, but...
Yeah. Our number 1 fan in the Czech Republic, Václav, would not like it if we neglected to mention this. We've got to keep...
we'll stay on top of it throughout the season.
That's right. We've got to keep everyone...
I didn't hear you mention Penn State there.
Probably for a good reason. Although I have no idea what the record is. All I can tell you is that they are not in the top 25, but they did receive like 4 votes.
Yeah.
For being ranked, but it wasn't enough to push them into the top 25.
Yeah.
They're not a basketball school, in case you haven't noticed.
Still find a way to beat Maryland, and they are, so it's not saying much for us.
Well, their rise to greatness will be right around the corner, I'm sure. Rise to glory. Hey, we're going to do listener mail first this time around.
Flipping the script on me, huh?
That's right, yeah. Yeah, so there's a guy named Jim who is from Pennsylvania, eastern Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Would like us to cover a little bit of a discussion on communication wiring and shields and drains and stuff like that.
Okay.
And because sometimes there's the thought of what we think should be done with drain wires and shields and that sort of thing. And then there's what kind of used to be done in the past, and then there's what Danfoss wants to see done. And they don't always line up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the idea. Now, before we get into that, I have some more wisdom for you. So, speaking of, there's a bit of a football reference here, but eagles may soar and be majestic and everything, but you'll never see a weasel get sucked into a jet engine. More from the wisdom of Stephen Wright, the comedian. Just so you know. Weasels don't normally get sucked into jet engines.
Maybe that's why one's an endangered species and the other isn't.
I think the eagles are off that list now.
Are they?
Yeah, I'll get back to you on that.
Okay.
I think they're off the list. Yes, you heard it here first. So, getting back to communication wiring. So, when we think of it, a lot of times we talk about echelon or LON wiring for some of our devices along with our communication modules. And then we also talk about Modbus wiring.
Yep.
Lots of Modbus going on right now.
It is. Definitely a shift that way.
Yeah. And I'm fine with that because it's, it's pretty easy, it's solid, and as long as you follow the rules, you're good to go.
Yep.
We can put a lot of stuff on our Modbus loop, like case controllers and leak sensors and all sorts of things. On new stores, that's what we're seeing. Mm-hmm. But if we start with the echelon wiring, or what we call LON wiring, we always start from the system manager, and then you want to use daisy chains through these nodes because we don't really have a whole lot of devices that can use star configurations and kind of crazy creative wiring. So daisy chaining is the main deal, and then we've talked about it before, but it's worth repeating. You want to use the right wire. For LON, there are 2 different wire types. In the North America here, we recommend Windy City Wire. They have that Smart Wire product line. And it's pretty reasonable in price, and it's not that hard to find. And for LON RS485, we use the 043006AL. Wire, and that just happens to give you a green jacket. There are other part numbers for other colors. And then for LON TP78, we always recommend the Windy City Wire number 106500.
And if you're asking which one should I be using or how do I know, it's back to some previous conversations we've had that comm module, system manager, they should all be married up with the part number that you've ordered, and they should all line up with one of those two LON types. Not that you're going to be mixing and matching.
Right, right. Yeah, you wouldn't be putting TP78 comm modules on an RS485 system manager or anything like that.
Right.
You're right. So when we, so this wire comes with a drain wire or a shield wire, and you're going to connect that on all the devices. And there is a terminal on the system manager where you can connect to shield, and you can put it on each of the Modbus connectors on the case controller. But you will find that, well, on case controllers you're going to have Modbus. So we should really stick to comm modules and other devices that are strictly LON. But yeah, those are going to have a shield wire, and we'll connect those. And then the idea is that when you're stripping back the jackets, you want to allow the jackets to stay as long as possible rather than stripping back, a foot or two just because you can. When you start digging through our documentation, it says that you want to only strip back what you need.
Yep.
And I think that's because it gives you the most ability to drain off that induced voltage that might occur.
Yeah, not pick up any extra noise.
Right. And then, of course, you want to keep your distance from high voltage cables whenever possible. We've looked in new racks and seen all that stuff bundled together, but as long as your shielding is done correctly, you can live that way rather than tear the whole rack wiring apart.
Story I always tell with that one, it was a job years ago, but the comm wire was run through the same conduit as the lighting circuit. And every time the lights would come on in the case, the comm loop would drop out.
That's a problem.
Yeah. So it's proof was in the pudding there that you want to keep them as separated as possible.
Yeah. There you go. So, yeah, and you want to avoid things like terminal blocks and wire nuts and things like that are not good practice whenever possible when you're making these kind of connections.
Yeah, don't splice it unless you have to.
Right, yeah.